The letter from the attorney arrived 4 days after we got back from our honeymoon. It was addressed to me, sent by certified mail, requiring my signature for delivery. I assumed it was something to do with the wedding, a vendor follow-up, a tax form, something administrative. It was not. The letter was a formal notification on behalf of the law firm, representing my mother, that I had been removed as a beneficiary from her estate. The change had been executed on the date of my wedding. The letter included a copy of the revised trust documents, with my name struck through on the beneficiary page and a handwritten initial next to the change. I read the letter 3 times before I called my mother. She did not pick up. I left a message asking her to call me back when she had a chance. She did not call me back that day, or the next, or the day after that. I called my sister. My sister had been at the wedding. She had given the toast at the reception. She had cried during the ceremony. She had hugged my new wife and told her she was happy to have her in the family. My sister picked up on the second ring. I told her about the letter. There was a long pause on the other end of the line. She told me she had been hoping I would not find out for a while. She told me our mother had been talking about this for months. She told me she had assumed our mother would change her mind eventually, the way she always did, and that she had not wanted to involve me in a fight that might resolve itself. It had not resolved itself. My mother had walked into her attorney's office on the morning of my wedding day, signed the paperwork, and left before I had even put on my suit. I had been disinherited as a wedding present. My wife and I had been together for almost 6 years before we got married. My mother had known her for all of those 6 years. They had not been close, but they had been polite. My mother had attended dinners. She had been at family holidays. She had given my wife a birthday gift every year, usually something thoughtful. The objections, when I learned about them later, had nothing to do with my wife as a person. They had to do with what my wife represented. My family had money, not generational wealth, not the kind that comes with names on buildings, but enough that an inheritance was a real number that would have changed my life in real ways. My mother had been planning for that inheritance to come to me and my sister, and she had been doing it carefully for a long time. She had also been quietly hoping that I would marry someone whose family had a similar level of resources, not for class reasons exactly, for protection reasons. She had watched her own friends lose money in divorces, and she had built up a private theory that the best way to protect family assets across generations was to keep them inside marriages where both sides had something to lose. My wife did not come from money. She had put herself through school. She had paid off her own student loans. She had been working in a field she loved for almost a decade and was extremely good at it, but she was never going to bring a comparable inheritance into our marriage. My mother had never said any of this to me. Not once, in 6 years of dating, had she suggested that my wife was anything other than welcome. She had saved it for the attorney's office. She had decided that the cleanest way to protect the family's money was to remove me from the equation entirely. The letter from the attorney was the first time I had ever heard her actual opinion. I drove to my mother's house the following weekend. She did not answer the door at first. I knocked for almost 10 minutes before she opened it. She looked tired. She did not invite me in. I asked her, standing on the porch, whether the letter was real. She told me it was. I asked her why. She gave me a version of the same explanation my sister had given. The family money, the divorce risk, the protection of assets. She delivered it as if she had been rehearsing it, which she probably had. I asked her if she had any intention of changing it back. She told me she did not. She told me she loved me, and that the decision was not personal. She told me she hoped I would understand someday, when I had children of my own and had to make difficult choices about their future. I told her I was not going to argue with her about it. I told her that the letter she had sent through her attorney had ended something between us that I was not sure could be repaired. I told her I hoped she would think carefully about what she had done. I drove home. My wife was waiting for me. I told her everything. She cried. She asked me whether I was going to keep trying. I told her I did not know. The next few months were the worst of my marriage. Not because of any conflict between my wife and me. We were fine. We were better than fine. But because the rest of my family did not handle it well, my sister tried to mediate. She would call me to relay messages from my mother. She would call my mother to relay reactions from me. She thought she was helping. She was making it worse because every message that passed through her became a slightly distorted version of the original, and every distortion gave the other side new things to be angry about. My father, who had divorced my mother years earlier and had remained on cordial terms with both of us, refused to take sides. He told me he understood why I was hurt. He told me he also understood why my mother had done what she had done. He told me he hoped we would all find a way back to each other eventually. It was the answer of a man who had spent a long time learning not to get pulled into other people's fights, and it left me with no support I could actually use. By the end of the first year of our marriage, my wife and I had stopped going to family events, not by formal decision. We had just kept finding reasons not to go, and the reasons had kept being good enough, and eventually the events had stopped, including us in the invitations. The resolution, when it came, did not come from a conversation. It came from a phone call from a hospital. My mother had had a stroke. She was alive, but she was in serious condition, and she was asking for me. I drove to the hospital that night. My sister was already there. My father arrived a few hours later with my stepmother. We all sat in the waiting room together, in a configuration we had not been in for years, and we waited. When I was able to see my mother, she could barely speak, but she could see me. And she gestured for me to come closer, and she said, in a voice that was almost not a voice at all, that she was sorry. I told her it was okay. I am not sure whether I meant it at the time or whether I was saying what she needed to hear. Probably both. She recovered. Mostly. She came home a few weeks later with limited use of her right side and a new appreciation for what it had cost her to spend the previous year being right about something that was not worth being right about. She changed the trust back. She did it herself in her own handwriting on the new draft, and she sent me a copy without an attorney letter attached. The note that came with it was short. She wrote that she had been wrong, that she should have talked to me before she had made the change, and that she hoped someday I would understand that she had been afraid, not cruel. I am still not sure I fully understand it. But I have a wife who stayed with me through the worst year of our marriage. I have a mother who is still alive and who I see when I can. I have a sister who I am closer to now than I was before, because we went through something difficult together and we came out on the other side of it. The trust is back to what it was. I do not think about it much anymore. The money was never the thing that mattered. What mattered was that someone I trusted had been willing to do something that hurt me in secret, in the name of protecting something I had never asked her to protect. She thought she was protecting our family. She nearly destroyed it instead. If this story hit you, subscribe. Every case on this channel starts with trust and ends with the truth.